Well, guys, we need to talk about Miami. The Heat remain undefeated in the playoffs by shocking the Bucks Game 1 last night. From the beginning, Jimmy Butler outplayed Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Bucks star ended the night with 18 points, his fewest this postseason. Meanwhile, Butler dropped a career playoff high 40 points, with 14 of them coming in the fourth quarter. So, Shannon, here's the question. Are the Heat going to win this series?
I've always expected this series to go 7 games, but I'm still going to ride with the Bucks, Skip. I think the Bucks will learn from their mistakes and what they did. I think the thing is, what Miami, Skip, is that they play zone almost like a college team. And, you know, you might see an NBA team switch up for a zone, maybe 1 or 2 possessions, but they're in that half the game. And they force you to make shots from the outside. And if you cannot make shots outside, they build that wall, and they're not letting Giannis cross it. And when they put him on the foul line, he was 4 of 12. Skip, at the end of the difference in this ball game is as simple as this. Yeah, you want to be able to move the ball free-flowing, but you better have a guy that can make shots, can go get his own shot down the stretch and get you a bucket. And that's what Jimmy Butler was able to do last night. And he felt it. He was pulling up with 3, and Jimmy is a guy that normally goes to the rim, you know, get fouled, but he had that mid-range cooking. And then he was pulling up from 3. Middleton couldn't do anything with him. No one could do anything with him. And when a guy gets going like that, you just look at your coach, you're like, I mean, what you want me to do? You see I'm all up in him. I'm 26 feet out here, and he's pulling up on me. And then he's taking me off the bounce mid-range. So I don't really know what you want me to do, Coach. Just start preparing for the next game. And so we can come up with a better plan. Maybe we need to trap him and get the ball out of his hands. The Bucks, they haven't really looked like the Bucks the entire time they've been in the bubble.
Thank you. Agreed.
And so I don't know, and Skip, we talk about who did it hurt or help.
Distraction.
Maybe it hurt them.
Well, it was in their backyard.
Because the timing, Skip, and even before what transpired, Skip, with Jacob Blake, they weren't looking good. Because remember, they lost the first game against Orlando before this transpired, and they haven't looked good. Yeah, Giannis has played well. You know, he's getting 30 and 15 and 5. But they haven't looked good overall as a team. They haven't shot it, and Bledsoe had something to do with that. I think he's one of their guys. They really need him. But give Jimmy credit. Give the Heat credit, Skip. The one thing you know about the Miami Heat, they're going to play hard. They're going to play hard for 48 minutes. They got guys that on the defensive end, they're going to get after you. And then if they need to play man, they got Big Bam, who finished second in the most improved players. He was unbelievable on the boards. So they got their work cut out for him, because Miami has always felt they could beat this team. They're not in awe of this team. They don't fear this team. They're not in awe of Giannis. They don't fear Giannis. No. They believe they can beat the Bucks. The Bucks got their hands full, Skip. They got their hands full with this one, because they got the right one. They got a mindset, and they got a guy named Jimmy Butler that doesn't back down from anyone.
So, I will be the first to confess on national TV, I chickened out on this series. I kept telling you all last week, I kept saying, I'm leaning to the Heat. Are you going to pick the Heat? Well, I'm going to wait until the last day. And truth be told, we didn't get to the topic at the end of the show we were going to do, which was pick this series, because we had other things breaking yesterday. And I had written on my sheet, I was going to pick, like you, Bucks in 7. And then I watched that last night, and I was kicking myself, because I do believe the Heat will win this series. I do believe the Bucks will once again be dispensed ahead of a finals that a lot of people favored them to not only win, but at least to win the East.
This would be awful for Giannis.
It would be awful for Giannis. So this last night was about what one man did and one man couldn't do. It was about a Jimmy Butler. I've told you, I've said it from day one about him. I want him in my foxhole. He's as mentally and physically tough a player as there is in all of basketball. I'm not saying he's a top 5 player, because he's not. And by the way, it just dawned on me, we're going back and forth about where does Luka rank. Is he easily top 5, as Jeff Van Gundy had said on Sunday afternoon? And I'm going down my 5. I'm getting all the way to 16 or 20, and I forgot about Jimmy Butler, because he can be forgettable, because he's not going to put up big numbers.
No.
He averaged 20, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. Not bad, but he shot from three 24% this year. He's a horrible three-point shooter on a team that finished second, barely, to Utah in three-point shooting percentage. So they live and die with the three, but they're not like Houston. They make a bunch. They take medium and make a bunch.
Right.
Okay?
Skip, I think the biggest thing for Jimmy Butler, he needed to be on the right team. Everybody can't take Jimmy.
No.
Minnesota couldn't take Jimmy. And he couldn't take Philly because he didn't think they took it serious enough.
I agree.
So Miami is the perfect place for him.
And he chose it.
Yes.
He said, I want that.
Yes.
Because I love the GM and the president, Pat Riley, obviously, and I love the coach, and I love the fabric. And Eric Spoelstra said after the game, he just fits everything about us, our fabric, who we are. Well, what did Jimmy say after the game? We got a bunch of dogs, and Pat and Coach Spo put all those dogs out there around me, and it works because they feed off his mentality.
Right.
But he made the point, and this is Coach Spo ended his quote here. He happened to score tonight, but he's a very unselfish player. It's not just about him scoring the basketball. Right. It's not.
No.
Some nights he doesn't score much at all. As Jimmy said, it's about guarding. It's about making the right play, getting 50-50 balls. That's how you win basketball games. Okay, well, that's the flip side of what we were talking about Russell Westbrook. Russell needs stats. He needs to look at that line and say, I triple-doubled again.
Right.
And Jimmy doesn't care about triple-doubles.
You have to find, Jimmy can find value in something other than scoring.
Yeah.
And there are very few guys because Skip, we put so much emphasis. Oh, he had 40. Oh, he had 50. He got 60. So Jimmy has found a way to impact the ball game. And if he doesn't score 40, if he doesn't score 30. And Skip, I think that, but at the end of the day, Skip, when you look at this game was nip and tuck. Miami had a guy in Jimmy Butler that could go get buckets.
Yeah.
You can pass the ball all you want to, but when the rubber needs to meet the road, you better have a guy that can go one-on-one and go get you a bucket.
Yep.
And the team that can do that consistently is the team that will win.
I agree. And Dragic got a bunch of buckets for a while.
He crashed with that left hand. that left, he can get you.
He can do this in the playoffs. He once had a game when he was in Phoenix against my Spurs when they were the Spurs.
Yeah.
Where he can go crazy hot where you can't stop him.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy Butler went Jimmy Buckets, which doesn't always happen.
No.
Then the kid Tyler Hero, he steps up and he goes hero at the end and makes a huge three that was the dagger.
Yes, for a rookie to take that shot.
Okay, and look what they've just done. They swept a team that was a little better in the regular season than they were.
Yeah.
They swept Indiana, and they won decisively all 4 games. They averaged winning by 10.5.
Yeah. Probably cost Nate McMillan his job.
It probably did. Well, it did.
Yeah.
And last night, they beat the prohibitive favorite in the East by 11. So they've now won 5 straight playoff games by around 11 points a game. Well, are you looking? Are you awake yet? Are you sleeping? Are you still sleeping on the Heat?
No, Skip, I think the Heat had the Bucks' undivided attention because they had already beat them. So they know what they represent. And see, the thing is about the playoff, Skip, it's not like, okay, we got Giannis tonight, we got LeBron, we got KD, No. We got you for 7 games. We got you for 2 weeks.
Yep.
And all our attention goes to you. So this is what so they can really hone in. And that's what, remember last year, Skip, Toronto. Toronto lost the first 2 games to them. And then they honed in and said, nah, we got to build this wall. If we keep Giannis out of the paint, if we make him shoot jump shots, and that's the thing that he's going to have to keep building on, Skip, because people are not going to let you Euro step them in the playoffs and dunk every time or lay the ball up. You're going to have to find a mid-range game. And you better start making them free throws because teams will foul you and put you on the line 20 times, and you up there making